Today we are going to Palm Desert, traveling on Highway 74, that is also known as the Pines to Palms Highway. Our journey begins here at Mountain Center at the junction of Highways 243 and 74.
To think about it was like a movie.
It's a very unique community. The last place you'd expect.
As we travel this stretch of highway to Palm Desert, you may recognize parts of this drive if you have been watching my videos of stops about each place on the way. I will scroll the title of each video as we pass that location on this trip. Now, whether you call it the Pines to Palms Highway or Palms to Pines Highway, it's a matter of perspective. You see, if you are traveling from Palm Desert, the highway is called Palms to Pines Highway, which begins at the intersection of Highway 74 and Highway 111. Government action has added to the confusion over the years. In 1930, the Riverside County Board of Supervisors named the road from the San Jacinto Mountains to the desert the Pines to Palms Highway. Then in 1971, the state designated the same stretch of road Palms to Pines Scenic Byway. In 1993, the Palms to Pines Scenic Highway was declared a National Forest Scenic Byway. And to add a little more confusion, there is another Pines to Palms Highway. It is that continuous roadway created between Winnipeg, Manitoba and New Orleans, Louisiana. The first cavalcade left Winnipeg on January 23, 1926, traveling the entire route, stopping in all of the major cities and towns along the way to publicize the existence of the highway. This monument plaque marks the north end of the Pines to Palms Highway. The Santa Rosa Indian Reservation is located here in Riverside County between Palm Springs and Anza and occupies 11,021 acres of land. The tribe is small with 118 adult members. Approximately 70 individuals live on the reservation. On May 15, 1876, sections of land were set aside by executive order of President Ulysses S. Grant for Indian reservations. The government had previously given the odd-numbered sections to the railroad as an incentive to build a cross-country rail line. On January 12, 1891, the U.S. Congress passed the Mission Indian Relief Act, authorizing allotments from the acreage comprising the reservation. The federal government closely supervised Cahuilla after 1891. The government schools were opened for Cahuilla children, and Protestant missionaries moved onto their reservation. During the 20th century, the tribe supported itself through cattle grazing and wage labor. Today, the tribe is working with Red Crow Cannabis, a native-owned company that grows medical marijuana on its reservation, dubbed Santa Rosa Farms. The reservation is composed of 4 non-contiguous parcels, the largest being located in the area of New Santa Rosa, Van Deventer Flat, where residents of the reservation reside. 3 remaining parcels, which include Toro Peak, where the tribe operates a telecommunications relay station, are located east of the main parcel. The Santa Rosa Indians are one of 8 Cahuilla bands, which include Cahuilla, Ramona, Los Coyotes, Torres Martinez, Augustine, Cabazon, Agua Caliente, and Morongo. Ahead is a housing development in the Santa Rosa Mountains, which the location today is more commonly known as Springcrest, although it is the town called Ribbonwood with its own zip code. That explains the crossroads sign is located near the old abandoned gas station. More commonly, people around here are more familiar with the old abandoned gas station that hasn't operated in several decades and is what most people see when they drive past modern-day Springcrest. As with most of the early highways back then when Highway 74 was built, between 1929 and 1932, many seeking to create businesses along the highway built little roadside gimmicks to get people to stop and purchase any souvenirs or services before heading down on the road. This road stop station at Ribbonwood was founded by Wilson Howell. It was a sort of a early primitive rest stop for tired travelers ragged after enduring the early rough road conditions back in those days. Wilson's Place was also another place where one could buy fruits and vegetables, enjoy a cold drink under an old Ramada, or even rent a cabin or camp spot for the night, maybe even the weekend. Another bit of history, both sad yet interesting at the same time, was in 1959 there was a mystery of sorts surrounding the disappearance of a young woman named Louise Teagarden. She was an outdoors person, a friend to even Wilson Howell at the Rivenwood camp, where she learned much of her outback survival skills. Yet strangely enough, on this one occasion, she lived for a couple of months in the wilderness before dying. Her remains were not found until 1991 in a cave in the Palm Canyon drainage area, of which the Spring Crest area, or Rivenwood, on Santa Rosa Mountains is very much a part of the upper headwaters. Louise was very experienced as having outdoor survival skills, and yet she mysteriously died. Several famous folks have had private homes here. Red Skelton had 2 of them. One was an A-frame house on the top street overlooking this station, and another is at the end of the cul-de-sac, which is the first street on the right after passing the station, sort of a mini ranch home. They never truly lived there, as they purchased a 660-acre horse ranch in Burnt Valley over the hill to the west of here. San Bernardino National Forest Pinyon Flats Campground is located in this desert landscape with views of the surrounding mountains. Open year-round on first-come, first-served basis. Campfires and charcoal barbecues are allowed per current fire restrictions. Propane stoves and lanterns are okay with a valid California campfire permit. 18 sites are available. Regardless of what you call the California Highway 74 or which direction you're heading, the highway is a feast for the senses. The Scenic Highway showcases a scenic forest island along the Southern California Desert Divide, traveling from a snow-peaked mountains to a desert oasis. This route is unparalleled in the array of wildland beauty offered. The current route of the highway roughly follows the trail first used by the Cahuilla Indians for hunting, harvesting pinyon, and escaping the desert heat. A paved road was needed to help get tourists into the mountains. For almost 2 years before construction began on the highway in 1929, several different factions clamored for routes that would benefit them. 3 routes were in contention. One was ruled out for cost. Palm Springs businessmen wanted a route that would go through Palm Canyon. The rest of Cahuilla Valley wanted a route that would go through Pinyon Flats. The pressure on the Riverside County Board of Supervisors got hot and heavy. The Los Angeles Chamber of Commerce even tried to influence the decision by hinting that they would not make a proposed financial contribution to the San Jacinto State Park if the highway did not go through Palm Canyon. The Palm Canyon route looked like a shoo-in, but nobody had talked to the Cahuilla Indians who controlled Palm Canyon. Despite intense lobbying, the Indians made it clear they did not want any part of a highway going through Palm Canyon. Left with only one viable route, the Riverside County Board of Supervisors voted unanimously for Pinyon Flat. The highway can be as treacherous as it is beautiful. It averages over 200 accidents a year, with more than half from speeding and improper turns. Those who drive the road often tend to drive it fast. Improvement projects have added guardrails over the years, but not all curves have them. It's not uncommon to see a car or truck down a steep ravine or hillside. Coachella Valley Vista Point is about 5 miles up Highway 74 as it snakes its way out of the Coachella Valley, south of Palm Desert, and into the Santa Rosa Mountains. Welcome to Scenic Highway 74. In this place of solitude and beauty, please take time to show respect for both the natural surroundings and those who share this highway. Maintain a grateful awareness of the time given you to share with your loved ones, and remember those who innocently lost what you may take for granted. Please drive safely. Hi.
Hi. Yes, yes, yes.
Look at the cars down here. Look at the
I know, I saw them.
They're winding around.
I know, they look so tiny.
It offers great views of north and east of Palm Desert, Indian Wells, and La Quinta. Awesome views of the San Jacinto and San Jacinto Mountains, and on a nice clear day, like after a rain or snowstorm, you can see the north tip of the Salton Sea about 40 miles away to the southeast. The highway has starred in its share of films, television shows, and ads. The opening scenes of Stanley Kramer's 1963 epic comedy, It's a Mad, 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 Mad World, zoomed in on Jimmy Durante careening off Highway 74 on the way down the mountain. Highway 74 also forms the backdrop for the antics of Edie Adams, Milton Berle, Sid Caesar, Buddy Hackett, Ethel Merman, Mickey Rooney, and Jonathan Winters as they raced one another to find the secret treasure Jimmy Durante told them about just before he literally kicked the bucket. The aerial shots in the movie of Highway 74 as it winds down to the desert floor look much the same as today.